What's up, you guys? It's Steve here to get you caught up on the latest breaking news coming out about our economy, a recession, inflation, gas prices, stimulus, and just yesterday on CNBC, they reported, I'm going to be sharing with you the actual video footage and article, that President Joe Biden had issued a warning to oil companies, letting them know if these gas prices don't come down, they could be suffering some windfall taxes here very soon. And also, this is a tough spot because we're hearing a recession is likely on the way as the Federal Reserve has to increase those interest rates, and we're dealing with 40-year high inflation, while the vast majority of America says they could use more stimulus and more aid, as 80% of the population says the economy is their number one top concern. I'm going to get you caught up on the latest. This is your breaking news stimulus update. Now, let me know your thoughts, you guys. If you want the latest updates on stimulus checks, child tax credits, Social Security increases, where things stand with legislation, in addition to that, SNAP, PEBT benefits, everything that's going on right now, check out my channel. I've got some videos I recently did covering those topics in more detail. But in this video, I want to cover for you this announcement that came out by President Joe Biden, and I'm going to share with you the video footage so you can see it for yourself. Now, before we dive in, do me a quick favor, smash the like button if you appreciate the updates, hit subscribe to see more content like this. Any specific questions, shoot me a DM on Instagram at SteveRam3, and also I got a second channel if you're interested, Steve Ram Finance, where you can learn about growing wealth. And if you'd like a comprehensive list of every stimulus check in the nation, I have one for you that I assembled. Took me 3 months, but it's got everything, websites, phone numbers, emails at www.reliefroadmap.com. But with that being said, you guys, let's dive into this article and take a look at the latest coming out as President Joe Biden yesterday made this announcement. This is on CNBC. So, link in the description below. Biden threatens higher taxes on oil companies if they do not work to lower the gas prices. Now, I'm going to be sharing with you the video footage here in just a second, but first, a little bit of context from this article. It says, President Joe Biden threatened yesterday, to pursue higher taxes on oil companies' profits if the industry giants do not work to cut gas prices. Biden has criticized oil companies that have made record high profits as consumers struggle to keep up with the high gas prices. The prices of a gallon of gas was $3.76 on Monday, according to AAA, down from a record of over $5 in June, but still higher than a year ago. Their profits are a windfall of war, Biden said, referring to Russia's war in Ukraine, which prompted Western sanctions that reduced oil supply. It's time for these companies to stop their war profiteering. If they don't, they're going to be paying a higher tax on their excess profits, he said. And keep in mind, midterm elections are just right around the corner. Now, the article says with 8 days to go before Election Day, White House messaging has focused on how Democrats are working to improve the economy and how Republicans would make it worse. Inflation and the economy consistently rank as the top issue for voters, and higher gas prices stretched consumers' budgets for much of this year. So they are not happy that a lot of these economic issues are coming up right by midterm elections. As you know, it's a completely Democratic Congress. Presidency, the Senate, and the House are all Democratic at this time. However, we're hearing it's very likely there's going to be a red wave coming unless they address these economic issues, and Republicans are going to take over the House and possibly the Senate as well. Now, I will keep you up to date on midterm elections and what unfolds, and like I said, any stimulus provisions as well. But with that being said, you guys, let's take a look at the video footage so you can hear it for yourself. The warning being issued by the president yesterday of windfall tax coming to these oil companies if things don't change soon.
You're not out in the rain with the Halloweeners.
Yeah.
I got to go out, so you got to come with me. Well, good afternoon. This is a very short statement, but a consequential one in my view. Putin's invasion of Ukraine in March set gas prices soaring literally around the world, not just here, but around the world. And because of the action we've taken since then, gas prices have actually come down, going into the Strategic Petroleum Reserve here at home in America. They're down more than $1.20 since their peak this summer, and they've been falling for the best part of the last 3 weeks. In June, the average price, not the most common price, but the average price nationwide was over $5 a gallon. Today, the average price for a gallon of gas is $3.76. That's adding up to real savings for American families, the difference between those prices. And this difference makes a difference in a difficult time. Americans across the country have stepped up and to do the right thing. But not everyone stepped up. The oil industry has not. It has not met its commitment to invest in America and support the American people. One by one, major oil companies have reported record profits, not just a fair return for hard work. Every company is entitled to that, a fair return for the work they do or innovation they generate. But I mean profits so high it's hard to believe. Now, the second quarter, the profits were really high, but the third quarter, last week, Shell announced that it made $9.5 billion in profits for the third quarter. $9.5 billion. That's almost twice as much as it made in the third quarter of last year. I think that's something. You think that's incredible? I thought, that's as good as high as it's going to get. Then along came Exxon. Exxon's profits for the third quarter were $18.7 billion. One quarter, $18.7 billion. Nearly triple what Exxon made last year. And the most in its 152-year history. It's never made that much profit. In the last 6 months, 6 of the largest oil companies have made more than $100 billion. $100 billion. And we had a little discussion about this, the three of us and others. $100 billion in profits in less than 200 days. That's not bad. And here's why this matters. I think it's outrageous what the size of the profit. Here's why it matters. If these companies were making average profits they've been making by refining oil over the last 20 years, instead of the outrageous profits they're making today, and if they passed the rest on to the consumers, the price of gas would come down around an additional 50 cents. If they're investing their profits at historic rates in their U.S. operations, then America would be producing more oil today, and prices would be down even further. But rather than increasing their investments in America or giving American consumers a break, their excess profits are going back to their shareholders and they're buying back their stocks, so the executive pays are going to skyrocket. Give me a break. Enough is enough. Look, I'm a capitalist. You've heard me say this before. I have no problem with corporations turning a fair profit or getting a return on their investment in innovation. But this is remotely what's happening. Oil companies, record profits today are not because they're doing something new or innovative. Their profits are a windfall of war. The windfall from the brutal conflict that's ravaging Ukraine and hurting tens of millions of people around the globe. You know, at a time of war, any company receiving historic windfall profits like this has a responsibility to act beyond their narrow self-interest of its executives and shareholders. I think they have a responsibility to act in the interest of their consumers, their community, and their country. To invest in America by increasing production and refining capacity, because they don't want to do that. They have the opportunity to do that. Lowering prices for consumers at the pump. You know, if they don't, they're going to pay a higher tax on their excess profits and face other restrictions. My team will work with Congress to look at these options that are available to us and others. It's time for these companies to stop war profiteering, meet their responsibilities to this country, and give the American people a break and still do very well. The American people are going to judge who's standing with them and who is only looking out for their own bottom line. I know where I stand, and I want to let you, I'm going to hear more from me about this when the Congress gets back. Thank you all very, very much. Appreciate it.
Mr. President, how is your about the midterm?
So there you have it, you guys. That was the president yesterday. Now, let me know your thoughts on this. Now, if oil companies, say, do respond to this and prices begin to come down right before the elections, do you think that would be enough to prompt voters to vote in favor of the Democrats? As right now, that is the primary focus, these midterm elections. Would there be anything that would cause you to vote for the Democrats that might change your mind if right now you're set on voting Republican at this time? Let me know your thoughts. What if, I know stimulus checks is, they say 80% of the population says that they would take a fourth federal level stimulus check despite the levels of inflation that are happening right now in the state of our economy. They're saying they need it to get through these times. If President Joe Biden and Democrats were to do something like that, would it cause you to vote in their favor, or would you take the check and still vote Republican? Let me know your thoughts, you guys. But right now, a lot unfolding as we enter into midterms, and I'll be sure to keep you up to date here on the channel. And that is the latest from the president as reported from CNBC. But with that being said, you guys, thank you so much for joining me. If you made it this far, you haven't already, don't forget, smash the like button. Just takes a second. Helps me out a ton with the YouTube algorithm. Thank you so much. Also, leave your comments. Share this out. If you want to stay up to date, it's free. All you got to do is hit the subscribe button, turn on the notification bell. Any specific questions for me, shoot them to me in the DM on Instagram at SteveRam3. Check out the second channel, Steve Ram Finance, to learn about growing wealth, personal finance, comprehensive list of every stimulus check in the nation at www.reliefroadmap.com. And also, thank you for all the support on my kids' channel, Liam and Naya. I'm very proud of them. They released a third video yesterday. If you haven't had a chance, check it out. If you got little ones, I hope they enjoy it. But with that being said, you guys, thank you so much for joining me, and I'll catch you in the next one. Take care. God bless. This is Steve.